Chico and the Man will not be presented this evening, and the Rockford Files will be seen 1 hour later than normal, so that we may bring you the following special program.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for another Oh Yeah Trek Watch. It's just two of us today. It's me and Francis. Mitch is on assignment, but we do have Mitch's review of today's episode. Excretus, I forget what his Boimler's name was, his Borg name. But, you know.
I forgot about that, Excretus.
Something like that. And there's Wayne letting us know that he liked the episode. It was okay. I mean, it was fine. I thought it was reasonably entertaining, and yeah, I mean, I had a few complaints about it, and in fact, I had no complaints about it.
This episode was and having said it is the best episode of Lower Decks I've seen. Honestly, I was so surprised, but the episode itself was but it was the best one. I thought they had something coherent. There were things I didn't like about it, as always, but I think this is the best episode of Lower Decks for me. There, end the podcast right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you. I like the direction it's gone in, and again, we've had enough episodes that there's definitely a pattern where, again, Boimler is proving to be a lot more adept than initially given credit in the first season. And I also like that Mariner is like kind of getting it sometimes. I mean, you know, the premises I'm sure people already know. There's a Starfleet instructor that is putting the crew through tests to see how they react under pressure. They have swapped things. The lower deck people have bridge crew responsibilities. The bridge crew have lower deck responsibilities to see how the other half lives and get a better appreciation, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. And again, I liked the scenarios. They put everybody through for the most part. I liked Tendy's the best, where it's kind of the Worf situation of, you know, give me an honorable death. I can't, you know, live as a paraplegic or a quadriplegic, whatever that guy, whatever the Klingon was suffering from. I wish it was still a little funnier than it was, but yeah. I love the Borg scenario with Boimler. I noticed in the credits that Alice Krieg played the board queen, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
That she came back for a handful of lines. Wonderful. And yeah, I liked watching Mariner get the crap kicked out of her on the Spectre of the Gun fake Western planet.
Yeah, when the horse ran her over, I was kind of
Yeah.
hoping it'd be like more of a permanent thing.
Well, still simulation.
Yeah, Langley, how are you?
How you doing, Langley?
Honestly, you bring this up all the time. The member berries were again in play, but if they, and this is my play for it, if they had avoided doing a lot of these stupid ones throughout the season, or seasons, as it were, and then this was the member berry payoff or the episode where you do the member berries, I would have been more appreciative of it. I like that they, went back to the Kirk and Spock, like you can't go in there type thing, like with the warp core.
Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek too.
Yeah, the Western planet, the thing with the Klingon, they all made sense here, and it was mostly done well-ish. Again, I don't want to give it a lot of praise because but
no, I agree with you, and no, they did, and also picking the different scenarios for each crew member worked. And yeah, Mariner goes in with her usual blasé, yeah, whatever, been there, done that, and gets the crap kicked out of her. So it's like, good, fine, excellent. Maybe this is a flaw that they are willing to accept. The other thing too is regarding the member berries. I was talking to Mags Visaggio the other day. She's doing a comic with Mike Oming and Taki Soma. Massive Star Trek fan. I would say either I'd be happy to do a solo with Mags or ask them to join us on an episode because they're very much a hardcore Star Trek fan, and I love New Trek. But I respect the point of view that Mags has, which is you got to accept these shows for what they are. Yes, it would be better in a lot of people's opinions. It seemed even in Mag's opinion that maybe it would be better if Discovery was an ensemble show, but it's not. It's a Michael Burnham show. Deal with it. And it's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm starting to feel that way with Lower Decks too, where it's like, okay, their humor's all going to come from member berries. That's fine. There's a real opportunity for them to have original comedy, even though they're leaning on these old scenarios. But I'm becoming more accepting of that, and I feel like I'm in a 12-step program with Trek. I'm becoming more accepting of it. But also,
yeah, I would be okay. I Michael Burnham, it is the Michael Burnham show. I get that as well. I got that, halfway through the first season. Get that, but the show still sucks. I mean, there's no changing that. Like there's no one that can do everything the way they set her up to, and it's just, and she's not likable to me.
I agree with everything you're saying, and that's why I'm glad to see that she isn't the solution, and she screws up, and she pays for screwing up. So that's all good. And I also am glad that they are again leaning on some of these other characters for moments of comedy. I really love the Bajoran giant security guy. I think he's very funny. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if we needed the naked time scenario though, but
yeah, I know.
But again, straddling that line of, do you want this to be a kid show or an adult show type thing, where they go back and forth, and I don't think they can make up their minds.
I agree, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, and again, it's funny, Wayne's saying that I've been assimilated with member berries. No. Again, I'm just kind of I'm kind of where Franco is, where yeah, it was good enough. I still wish it was funnier, and I still wish it was better. But I even like the cold open. I was okay with that, and I mean they kind of teased it in one of the trailers for this season. But yeah, and they left us. Okay, great. And then I like that it was 6 hours later, and they were probably low on air.
Right.
They do get transported back.
Well, they were all freezing and everything. Yeah. Nothing a little lung regeneration can't fix. Yeah.
So, okay, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, again, I don't have much to say. and that's good because actually I liked it. It was fine. It was fine. I'd give it 2.5. And again, I it's another episode that I have a somewhat positive review versus this sucks and I don't agree with what they're saying and all this shit. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I'm in total agreement. I think it's there in the mid range for me. 3. It's just not guffaw funny. I'd like it to be a lot funnier.
yeah,
But there's not much to complain about.
yeah.
You know,
Again, no,
I
that,
mean,
that
I wasn't happy with the ending with like, hey, let's let's blackmail this person and we'll teach them a lesson that way. It was like, oh, that seems very Star Trekky.
yeah, that was a bit childish. And again, that's when they kind of go to their childish reflex rather than come up with something clever to solve the problem. But I'll admit I like Boimler kind of almost having this addiction that he needs to do better.
I did
That's
like that about him, yeah.
you know.
And I actually love the way they played that because like he finally made it. That was in my opinion well done because like he's like, all right, I only got like what was his first score, like 84% or something like that. You did pretty
Oh, it was
good.
in the 70s. It was only in the 70s.
In the 70s, and he goes back and he goes, all right, this time I'm going to take the babies with me. When they went back, and I thought that was funny. And then he comes back and he's got like a Borg body, and then like he humanized the queen, like made her more human and everything. I thought that was funny. And then when he gets to the 100%, he's like, oh, you got.
Oh, Franco's in the zone. He'll unfreeze momentarily. Everybody, don't worry. Let's both do Police Squad for a second. Me and Franco. Oh, there goes Franco. That's fine. I don't know, Langley. Langley wants to know what alien race was the drill instructor. I couldn't figure out which race they were referencing. Me neither. I will read. I'm sure we'll find out. But yeah, don't worry. Franco will come back shortly. Langley also says that the show's getting better slowly but surely. Hey, man, again, it took Next Gen 2 seasons to really figure itself out. So I see improvement. So I am feeling better about it. Wayne says I think Boimler is competent since Riker wanted him on the Titan. 100%, Wayne. Absolutely. Again, I think we all know that, but unfortunately, what we got, especially in the first season, was look at how much of a screw up Boimler is. All right, Franco just messaged me, and he says, "Oh no, I seem to have lost internet." So, God, I hope he's able to fix it. I'm happy to talk to everybody here in the meantime because I wanted to point out how much, and the reason why I was looking at my phone is I've really enjoyed starting to read the latest Star Trek novel. That's Coda, Book 1, Moments Asunder. I believe it's going to be a 3-part book thing. And if you don't know, they are ending the novel continuity. Sorry about that. I have no idea who's buzzing. Who's that knocking at my door? Hopefully they won't buzz more than that. And someone will let them in. But this is great as far as this book series. They've been doing it since the end of Deep Space Nine, and they started to extend the story about 20 years ago. And because of the changes in the timeline that happened on screen with Picard in particular, it doesn't make sense for the continuity that was in the books. So they're wrapping up the book continuity with this 3-part story. It's been amazing. And really, some of the amazing changes have been really great. Scythe Life wants to know, have I seen Venom? I have not seen Venom yet. No. Langley's asking, is the book out? Yes, the book came out this Tuesday, and I bought it immediately, and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, it's pretty neat stuff. Here's a new update from Franco. Whole house went down. Oh, bummer. So I can certainly appreciate what Franco's going through right now. But back to the show, Langley says, I like Boimler when he's not playing sibling rivalry with Mariner. Absolutely. And also, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. So, and regarding the books, Langley says at least they're giving everybody the opportunity to end it. Yeah, they are. Three books to wrap everything up. Really interesting stuff. Voyager, since it came back to the Alpha Quadrant, Janeway on a mission was killed and ascended, and then they found a way to bring her back corporeally and everything. So that's kind of cool. Picard and Crusher were they were married. Picard and Beverly were married, and that was part of the story. Bashir and Dax and Ezri got involved with Section 31 and exposed a massive Andorian plot, but in the process, they were kicked out of Starfleet because of their actions, because they worked with Section 31. Very interesting stuff, and so worth. If you buy this first Coda book, they will point you to key books in the run that have been happening that are worth exploring. Ben Sisko comes back out of the wormhole and is back protecting Bajor in a physical form, and also still being part of the Federation and Starfleet. All interesting plot points. Really glad they were doing it. Their best writers were absolutely firing on all cylinders. So yeah, if you miss classic Trek, the books have been amazing and really have for the last 20 years. So I absolutely recommend that. Wayne wants to know if we're still going to do Oh Yeah Later if Franco is down. Yeah, I'll send a link for everybody to do it. And I might have to leave early. I'm going to do a show, also do a boxing show tonight with Ring Magazine, my buddy Doug Fisher, because there's a lot of boxing stuff to talk about, and I really wanted to do that. I wasn't sure if we were going to do an Oh Yeah show, so I'm happy to do 3 shows and give everybody something. So that's interesting. Langley mentioning that Picard and Beverly now married in the books, and good. I still don't get how Picard and Crusher are not married. Another issue with the Picard show. Yeah, I'm really hoping. Obviously, with the broken timeline, I don't know what kind of opportunity. Maybe there is an opportunity. Maybe you show Beverly Crusher as kind of an Eva Braun kind of totalitarian character in this universe, and she and Jean-Luc are together. I have no idea. That would be great. That's the thing, man. I'm still optimistic about what they could potentially do. Here comes Franco. He's coming back. He's hey boy.
Hey. I don't know. My internet blew up.
Just your internet.
No, I have power, but my internet blew up, and I had to come upstairs because I don't get cell service downstairs very well. So I'm now upstairs.
Good. People were worried about the Oh Yeah show coming up too.
Yeah, that might be an issue. We'll see what happens.
Well,
but sometimes my internet blows up and then comes back in a while. So
if you need me to host, I can. I mean, I could set up the room and leave, and you guys can continue without me.
I already set it up, so yeah, we'll see.
The only thing we couldn't do is if I'm hosting, I would have to fire off the intro and the exit. Yeah. So we may not be able to do the exit if I have to leave early, but so excellent. Oh, here's a message from Art. Hi, Art.
I'll be ready by 8 o'clock.
Chicago time, which is when we're starting 9 o'clock your time. So that's good.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this is I can do like ceiling shots like this.
Sure.
I can sit here and you can look at my ceiling fan.
And your
classic, this is a good angle.
Your classic pose of your forehead in the shot. There you go.
So let's talk some Star Trek.
I was just telling everybody about the
this
Star
is
Trek.
The way my day's going. I need a drink.
I was telling everybody about the Star Trek novels and filling them in because, as I've said before on other episodes, they're wrapping up the book continuity. And the book continuity really started from the end of Deep Space Nine and Voyager and really expanded the story. And I could even tell you some highlights here, like Sisko returns from the wormhole and Bajor joins the United Federation of Planets. Janeway, after coming back from Voyager and everything, she gets into an incident where she dies and she ascends, and she and Q are having conversations, but they're able to bring her back to life corporally without making her an android, I should add. So there you go. Oh, Langley, yes. Langley's in Chicago. Yes, he's on the south side. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm on the north side, dude. That's awesome. Very cool. We should set up a hangout.
I'm in New York, so that's not going to work for me.
I understand. But there's some really interesting little Federation political plots. Bashir and Ezri end up working for Section 31 in a good cause, but because they're working for Section 31, they get kicked out of Starfleet, both of them. Yeah, there's neat stuff. Picard marries Beverly
What?
in one book. Yeah.
Wait, Cyborg Picard or regular Picard? Or young
Regular
Picard? Oh, okay.
I love you. I love you. I love you. Like the fembot at the end of
Beverly, you turn me on, Beverly.
I'm fully functional, Beverly. But no, it's good. The books have been great, but yeah, they're wrapping up this 20 years of continuity because events in Picard have made it different than this book continuity. So they're wrapping up the book continuity in like a 3-book trilogy.
And all of that's in the 3 books? Wow.
Well, no, everything I've said are in other novels leading up to this current final story. So, and I mean, at the front of this first book, which I want to say is again Coda. I want to get the title right. Yeah, Star Trek Coda, Book 1, Moments Asunder. It's by Dayton Ward. Dayton Ward is a very good Trek novelist. And there's going to be 3 books. But yeah, at the front of it, they give you kind of a timeline of when all these things happen and the specific novels leading up to Coda, where you can read the full stories if you want. So you can catch up shorthand or check out all this great stuff. And I'll tell you, man, I read one of those Bashir, Ezri, Deep Space Nine books where they're working with Section 31. It was very, very good. And Langley says that explains the ideas Ira Bear had for Bashir and Ezri for a Deep Space Nine reunion film on the DS9 documentary. Okay.
I wonder if those guys do they have any interaction with the previous showrunners to talk about stuff, or they just do stuff on their own? I've always wondered that.
I believe they do stuff on their own. They have to get vetted by John Van Sitters is an upstairs Paramount guy that oversees a lot of Star Trek continuity. But they get these writers that are very much into the shows, and their storylines are approved to make novels out of. Not everything gets approved. I mean, there's always no, you can't do that. Another thing that happened, I don't know if you ever read the Strange New Worlds anthologies. Those are short stories written by fans. And a lot of those stories are really good and a much better use of member berries. I remember one short story from the Strange New Worlds collections. It was the woman from Star Trek 4, the marine biologist that they bring to the future, and Carol Marcus have a mission together, and they compare notes on Kirk, and it's hilarious. And so yeah, I mean, fun ideas like that. Or God, there was an awesome one. The Gamesters of Triskelion. I bet 10,000 on the Quatloons on the newcomers. The 3 brains that are gambling.
Right.
And you got Evangeline, I forget her last name. Evangeline Pettyjohn, who's in the tinfoil bikini in that one, and is one of the thralls, one of the slaves that the Chekhov, Sulu, and Uhura have to fight. But like Kirk kind of like teaches her and helps her evolve and stuff. And Shauna, you don't have to live this life.
I'm gonna shut my I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna shut my camera off and try something real quick. But keep talking. Okay. I can hear you.
So that's the great episode, and he points to the sky and the lights in the sky. I come from the lights in the sky, and there's that really sad moment where they beam back up to the Enterprise, and Shauna's crying, and goodbye, Jim Kirk, I will remember, blah blah blah. So in Strange New Worlds, they do a story where it's in the future, and she becomes the leader of her people, and has taken over the planet. And like movie era original cast, Kirk comes back to the planet. And she's nervous as hell. And she's like, my God, will he even remember me? And it's this very sweet, sentimental story where he's like, Shauna, how could I forget? How could I forget you? I remember every female alien I've nailed all across this galaxy. And it's great. It's a very sweet story. So there you go. Oh, Franco's coming back. So let's see here. Are you ready? Can I bring you in? Can I bring this version of you in? I'm going. Well, first I should take you out so you're not echoing. So I'm going to do that, and then this.
There you go. There we go. Sorry about that.
Not a
My
problem.
internet popped back. Sometimes it does that like weirdly. So,
Good.
Sorry. So you got to see another part of the house for a little bit. There you go.
I liked it. And here, Langley says he loved the short story about the Roddenberry on his deathbed saying goodbye to his characters. I don't remember reading that one, but I bet it was great. I also remember from the original anthologies, they did a story where the cast accidentally gets beamed up to the real Enterprise, and they're like, "Whoa, this is the show! What the hell?" And it's all crazy. And Scotty is the only one who knows they're not really the people that they are. And it's like you got to get through this one little talk with the Klingons, and Shatner, you're gonna have to be Kirk or whatever. And it was funny. It was really, especially Nimoy and Shatner in the story were really funny. So,
wow,
another cheeseball story. So,
I like cheeseballs.
Yeah, I liked it. Here, let me give Mitch's assessment of the episode because he did leave it for us today. And we'll let him talk about it next week when he's back. He said, "I love the latest episode of Lower Decks. It's my favorite of the entire series. I give it 5 out of 5. And yeah, I'm completely serious. It was good. Funny and flying. I don't know where I end and you begin, which is what I say in my mind every week on the Trek Watch." I don't even remember that line being in the episode.
No, I don't remember. But it's funny that he had to add the tagline, "No, I'm serious. I really like this."
Well, because I mean, we could, oh yeah, it was great, it was fantastic, yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. So that's interesting. Todd says, why do the news stories feel like they have a hint of the amount of love? Why don't they have the hint of the amount of love that has the books? I wish I could tell you. All I know is everyone I know who has written either a Trek novel or comic, and I know actually a good handful of them, they're swinging for the fences. My buddy Dave Baker, who wrote that excellent IDW Voyager miniseries, I don't remember the title of it, but I've shown the cover before here on the show. It felt like a Voyager episode. I mean, it was so, and it was, like not a routine mission, but not a world-ending, mission. It was, another planet, another alien race, whatever. And it was midway through the 4th season, which was 7 of 9's first season on the show. And so there's still a little bit of getting used to the crew and the crew getting used to her being there. It was great. It felt like real Star Trek. So, what can you say? And that's why sometimes I forget how good the books can be, the novels can be. So, God, I feel like, I don't know if you've ever heard this about the creator of Tintin, Hergé, the fine Belgian cartoonist. Forgive the comparison, but during World War II and the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands, Tintin stories got more fantasy oriented and stuff. And some would say that Hergé retreated into his fantasy world to not have to deal with the realities that were surrounding him. Forgive the extreme comparison. But yeah, it's like if you miss Star Trek as, we think it should be, these novels are great. I'm further into the Ben Maxwell Deep Space Nine novel. And the only thing I would say about that one that I do find disorienting is it does time jumps from the past with Maxwell and also Deep Space Nine people. So there are scenes with O'Brien and Bashir that take place in the past. There's scenes with O'Brien and Nog that take place in the past. Ben Maxwell's life on this other planet as the janitor and having to psychologically cope with his choices as captain and when he went after the Cardassians. All interesting stuff. But yeah, sometimes they are a little like too many time shifts for my taste, but that's
me. Yep. Understandable. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like these new shows just don't have the Star Trek feel for me. And Picard, I think, came a little bit as the closest. Discovery just isn't hitting the the right cylinders for me. It's the Michael Burnham show, and she's unlikable to me as a character, so I can't get into it. So that's why I'm still holding out hope for Strange New Worlds. But other than that, if we're going up to date, Picard is the only one that's kind of sort of close. But it's a show about after his life in the Federation, so I'm okay with that. It's interesting to me to see what that's like, because there are other people out there. There are these aliens that they encounter. There are other people that they encounter, people not in the Federation. So I'm okay with those stories. Give me more of those stories, but make them good, for crying out loud.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I don't mind them introducing these ninja nun Romulans in Picard. What did they do with them? Not much. I mean,
Right.
you got Eleanor. Gee, I think you're Swellenor. I think there was a course correction midway through the show, and because of that course correction, they kind of left him out, and he really had nothing to do except slice that Romulan senator's head off, and cried a lot, frankly.
Yeah.
So, Wayne says, I was telling Franco earlier this week, my friend loves Discovery and Burnham as a character. Again, Mags Visaggio, who knows their Trek. I mean, this is a dyed-in-the-wool Star Trek fan and can go chapter and verse to the delight of Mike Oming and Taki Soma. And I mean, this was after we did our podcast about their new book, and we went for another hour. And I kept saying, I'm like, Mike, Taki, you guys can, you don't have to stick around. They're like, we love this. They're like, we are not as big of Star Trek fans as you two are, but it's hilarious watching you guys go. And it's great. And again, I'm like, Mags, you got to come on. I'm not out to change your mind, but I would love to have an intelligent conversation with someone that can articulate why they love Discovery and Michael Burnham. And forgive me, but mostly what I've heard from those fans are, I just like it. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, come on, these are smart writers that I'm talking to, and creative people.
I get that. I mean, there are shows out there that are, just I like, like they're, some are like a guilty pleasure, if you will.
Totally.
That I just like, and that I know other people don't like, but I don't know. Star Trek has a certain style, a certain sense, a certain sensibility that I just don't find in Discovery. I don't find in Lower Decks. It's just not there. And I don't know if it's because maybe we're old school and we know that it's a, I don't know, that it's not our old stuff, but I don't know. I'm a fan of good stories. I'm a fan of take some of these things, put them in different situations, but and I understand sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does, but we've got 3 seasons of Discovery where I'm just like, come on, really?
Well, and again, I've said it before on this show, but I was telling Mags about it. I'm like, they have an episode, Saru has a crew dinner, right, and, all they could do is talk about Michael Burnham.
Yep.
And it's like, she's not there.
Yeah.
God damn it. What are you doing? Yeah. Langley makes a good point.
Exactly.
Was introduced as assaulting her captain, causing war with the Klingons. I would say not only assaulting her captain, but insubordination.
Insurrection.
Insurrection, absolutely. Yeah. And the show acted like she made up for it, but she never did, in my opinion. I completely agree. I completely agree. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, but that's, again, if we take Star Trek out of the equation, if this was a different show, if this was a Babylon 5 show or something else, I think I would be more apt to be okay with it. But because they slap Star Trek on it, it doesn't have that sensibility. Battlestar Galactica, I loved the new version of Battlestar Galactica. It had not a lot in common with the old Battlestar Galactica, but damn, that was a good story, and it had you hooked every week. I mean, not every week was a gold mine, but man, like in and out, you're like, what is happening here? Like, I can't wait to see this.
Well, again, with Galactica, and I just had the chief on, Aaron Douglas, and we talked about it. The miniseries was fine. That first episode, where they had to jump every 33 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
face a massive Cylon attack, that was white knuckle television.
Yep.
And it sucked you in, and you really cared about these people in a way you didn't from the miniseries, and all bets were off. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, anything can happen on this show. And my good friend that I normally, it's funny, we've got New York Comic Con starting next weekend. When I go, I won't be there this year, but when I go, I usually stay with my good friends. And they are massive theater people and movie people and really respect good writing and good acting. And I'm like, Mary McDonald and Edward James Olmos are acting their asses off. And I go, forget about that. It's sci-fi. It's what if this cataclysm happened? There are less than 50,000 people left on Earth, and you got to keep the civilization going with limited resources. And you're on a trek in space, and an alien fleet's coming after you. What do you do?
Right.
And their problems were very human.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that in new Star Trek, and I don't see smart science fiction either.
Right. I mean, you think about what they did with Star Trek, the original series, right? And then the movies, and then you come out with Next Generation. Okay, and Next Generation caught some flack at the beginning because they're like, what are they doing with this? What's going on? But it came into its own, and it was distinctly Star Trek.
Yeah.
You get Deep Space Nine, where they put them out in the middle of nowhere with new alien races, and it came into its own. It was exciting television. I liked every episode. Voyager, not as much, but still, the sensibility of the Federation and Star Trek was there. Because even though they're in a galaxy far, far away, they're trying to adhere to the rules. They take the renegades, the terrorists, the Maquis, and they assimilate them into the it's different for Star Trek, but it worked to a degree. Discovery doesn't do that for me. Even Enterprise, you're showing the beginning of the Federation in space. Okay, get it. But again, distinctly Star Trek. Discovery is not Star Trek to me. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. They don't have that sensibility.
I agree.
I don't know.
And I guess their excuse is, well, it's 10 years before Kirk in the initial first two seasons. Maybe therefore Starfleet hasn't grown up itself as an organization yet because it's 10 years before. I don't agree with that. I think that using the pilot of The Cage as real canon, and that it's 9 years before we see Kirk and Spock, there's enough real Star Trek in The Cage that I think Starfleet is a much more competent organization. And they make dumb decisions, and also they take license with established characters. I still don't believe in the version of Sarek in Discovery. That is a much more nuanced and evolved accepting of humans than what we got in Journey to Babel, or even as late, as I've said a million times, in Star Trek 4. And yes, he married Amanda, and Amanda's an exception, and did find love and managed to, have a baby and Spock and everything. But I still think there is a country club Vulcan attitude that was missing in Discovery Sarek. And we really got Sarek on the Vulcan human Spectre or spectrum, where Spock was by the time of Star Trek 6, and in from the timeline standpoint, 80 years later, when in Unification on Next Gen, where he is much more comfortable with himself. He's much more comfortable with his human side, dealing with humans, all that stuff. Again, that's all Spock, and that's all internal. I think even to Sarek's deathbed, Picard was an exception of a human that he could relate to, because they mind melded and they shared consciousness. So he could reveal, and also he was suffering from Bendai syndrome, so he could reveal his real self, his emotional side, to Picard in a way that he couldn't to Spock, and he even probably couldn't to his second wife, Perrin. No. So, and again, this is why I love Star Trek, because beyond what we get on the screen, you have these like subtextual ideas about characters that are discussed in really good essays online or in print. And I'm sorry,
But even if you don't,
is
but
as shallow as a petri dish. Go
but
on.
even if you don't move beyond the show itself into the books and the essays like you do, because I mainly stick with the shows. They don't have the characters in the newer shows don't seem to have any sensibility and likableness. Like the only character that really triggered a Star Trek response from me was Anson Mount because he was authoritative, in charge, likable, even when he wasn't supposed to be likable, like when he's being confrontational and stuff like that. But it worked for me, and that's why, and I think that's why the fans reacted so well to that. He is just a commanding presence, likable character, and you want to follow him. That's why I'm so excited for the new show now. But Burnham's not that. Burnham is not that at all.
No.
Michelle Yeoh is not that. Her character, either one, the good or the bad.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and the only one that's doing it for me other than Anson Mount is Tilly. Because I got a thing for her. But
yeah, sure.
but even she was very unlikable at the beginning.
I gotta be honest,
she's come a little bit into her own. Again, not my favorite character, but she's come into her own a bit.
I hear you. No, and again, like when she and Saru were on the cowboy planet and dealing with the asshole conmen and everything,
mm-hmm.
it was fine. I don't believe the character. I don't believe she would have made it through Starfleet. She's a little too scatterbrained, which I don't like. And also, man, from going from scatterbrained ensign to acting captain, it's like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
But they've had that before. They had I'm so bad with names. This from the A-Team. Howling Matt Murdock. Not Matt Murdock.
On
Next Generation.
Yeah,
Barkley. They had him. Like he wouldn't have made it through. Would he have? Wouldn't he have? But they played that character well, and I kind of feel like Tilly is sort of like in that mold a little bit. So I'm believable.
Right. No, I think you're right. That's fair. Again, this is why I like talking to Mags about it, because Mags it was like a chess game. And I'm like, yeah, what about this? And she's like, yeah, but what about this? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And again, the thing that I keep going back to is, and everyone who says they like Discovery, it's like, well, Kirk was the solution 99% of the time. And I'm like, yeah, but that was 1960s TV thinking, where, of course, Mannix is always going to be the solution, whatever the problem of the week is. He's fucking Mannix. And the same thing goes, I mean, it could have just been the life of Captain Kirk, and we all would have not, and it really wouldn't have to change much of the story. But again, since Next Generation, and for a really long time, from 80 whatever it was with Next Gen till the end of Enterprise, it became an ensemble show. And I like that. And also, too much happens on the bridge for us not to know more about the bridge crew. And again, Max like, well, I disagree. There's always a bunch of, no-name bridge crew people. And I'm like, yeah, but they managed to inject some character. Chekhov is a great example of that in season 2. He's brand new, but gets all these opportunities to us to understand the character. They lean into the whole Soviet thing. We did it first, and our history is the more important history. And just a lot of fun, ironic lines as well. And the interplay when, Sulu was making Green Berets with John Wayne, that's, Takei. And that's one of the reasons why they had to also introduce Chekhov, was to replace him as a bridge guy. But even every now and then, even Chekhov and Sulu have moments in the show before the movies. Because it's like, well, you're thinking about that from the movies. No, sorry. And Scotty was great. Scotty was an important character. And, God, you go back to Wolf in the Fold with the alien Jack the Ripper and stuff. And Scotty's like the center of the story. And that's great.
But just like little character moments that, like when he's on the planet being insulted by I think the Klingons, and he's like, "Easy, lads," like, and then they insult the ship. Okay, now, yeah,
Yeah, that's Scotty's line.
yeah,
Absolutely, man.
yeah.
Hilarious.
So, yeah,
And also when Kirk interrogates him afterwards, and he's like, I understand you were defending me. Oh no, sir. We all have to
no,
be big enough to handle insults. It's when they called the Enterprise a garbage cow. I couldn't
yeah,
handle that. And he's like, I see, not
yeah,
on me. Well, sir, it's a matter of pride. And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, man, no, I mean, that's Scotty. That's beautiful. Or I even said, because we're talking about Star Trek Into Darkness, and Max hates that's her least favorite Star Trek film, and I can appreciate that because it is so stupid. And I said the one thing I like about Star Trek Into Darkness is the way they play Scotty, because Scotty really does. He's the one that's like, this all looks bad. Please don't do this. And to the point where he is willing to resign. And even his final words when he resigns to Chris Pine as Kirk is, Jim, for the love of God, don't do this. And it really is this great, like, when Spock is being serious and calling him Jim. And it's great to see. I mean, McCoy always does it. That's McCoy. They've been friends since whenever. But it is awesome when these people who respect Captain Kirk kind of are like, no, Jim, listen to me. This is bad. This is really, really bad. And I just, from a character standpoint, I thought Simon Pegg nailed it. And again, it really fit who Scotty is to me, because they have a much better relationship than poor Jimmy Doohan had with William Shatner. And that's
Yep.
okay. What are you going to do? So anyway,
Yep.
who's holding Donna now? Who's texting me? Oh, that's very nice. Friend who I wished happy anniversary to. But anyway, no, but again, that's the thing, man. And you watch enough that I believe you understand these things that I'm talking about and stuff. And these are the great, like, real character moments. They've built up Jet Reno, right? Yeah, isn't that Tignataro?
Yeah.
They built up Stamets and Culver, and that's great. Now you've got Adira and Gray, the non-binary couple, and that's all fine and good. I'm not against. And Book, you got a lot about Book and everything. But again, there's this bridge crew that, outside of Detmer, Eyepiece Girl, that had her post-traumatic stress disorder for a while. She's much better now. That was fast. Yeah, I don't know. There's a whole bridge crew that, again, so much action happens on the bridge. I think we need to know who these people are beyond just, or them looking at each other scared. Her and Dreadlock Lady, Braid Lady.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know who she is. I don't know who any of them are.
Well, of course you don't know. We don't know. So, yeah, Langley obviously complaining about how promoting Tilly bothered him because he thinks it undermined her as a character. She didn't get to earn the honor of promotion. Plus, it was impractical. She's an ensign. There's not one other crewman with a rank higher than ensign that can act as first officer. Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about the stupid decisions about the writers. I was talking about what they've done with her as a character is believable to me, in the sense that she's grown into it. But yeah, no, making her captain was stupid.
Well, and also, I'm not that convinced that Saru is the greatest captain in the world either. And I love Doug Jones. And there's just some weird ideas about the character as they presented him being kind of like a deer or a cow as far as on the food chain of his planet and stuff. And the way that he's asserted himself, obviously through circumstance, but I haven't seen examples, even him talking down the kid who screamed and screwed up all the dilithium. I haven't really seen him be a captain in the way that even Giorgio or I mean, I miss Lorca. I wish to God they would have found a way to,
even though he was evil Lorca.
Well, I was going to say that they killed Mirror Universe Lorca, but that real Lorca or regular Universe Lorca shows up. I'm bummed, and I'm sorry that Jason Isaacs wasn't a bigger part of the show moving forward.
No.
But that's me. What are you going to do? Well, anyway, I don't know. Anything else you want to?
I don't think so.
All right, fair enough. I mean, again, Thanks everybody, and we'll see how next week's episode goes.
Is next week's the last episode, or is there another one after?
No, it's 9. So I'm assuming there's either 10 or 12, at least, or 13 maybe. I'm not sure. So Wayne wants to know what I thought of Chris Pine being promoted in JJ's Star Trek so quickly. Yeah, I didn't. Well, again, it was kind of circumstances, but really, yeah, I don't know. I don't. There certainly wasn't another officer on the Enterprise once Spock showed that he was compromised, as older Spock said, to turn the captaincy over to someone. I mean, it's a weird story. That story's just weird. And knowing where the timeline's supposed to go, it's like, fine, whatever. I prefer Kirk's real continuity of having to serve as a first officer and in the command system before getting the Enterprise finally. And again, something that's explored very well in the novels. A book called Enterprise, the First Adventure, does a great job. And I'm really excited about Strange New Worlds having the continuity that Chapel, M'Benga, and Uhura are all serving on the Enterprise before Kirk. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting, and there's a real interesting moment there. Yeah, and again, I wonder if we'll see a Lieutenant Kirk or a Lieutenant Commander Kirk on Strange New Worlds. It's going to be very interesting if they have the balls to do that.
Yeah. Hopefully not, because I'd like to see what this crew can do.
Sure.
But, yeah, we'll see.
So, yeah, and as Langley points out, like when he was Lieutenant Kirk on the Farragut, absolutely. Hey, let's see. I forget which ship he and Gary Mitchell were serving on together. I know they were at the Academy together. And, in fact, I think Kirk taught classes that Gary Mitchell was taking. And Gary, steered a couple young women towards Kirk to kind of, get his mind off of being, a Starfleet guy, which I love. Again, that's the thing. If you really, really watch a lot of these episodes, there are moments of dialogue that reveal much more deeper character. And I'm not feeling that from Discovery. I'm just not. So, Can I shit on Discovery more? The answer is obviously yes. So, anyway, we'll save it for next time. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the conversation today. And
there's a podcast coming on later if you're interested.
Yes, absolutely. I wish if there was a way, Franco, to put the link in the chat, I would put it on screen right now. But it's going to be on Franco's.
On I Like Pink. It's not on mine. It's on my Twitter, and I'm on the YouTube channel. Oh yeah, Comics YouTube channel.
There you go, and on Facebook on I Like Pink. So that's good. So if you're watching on I Like Pink, it will be here. But yeah, Franco's going to host. I'm going to be on for part of the time, and then I'm going to jump off and have a boxing conversation with my buddy Doug Fisher, who is one of the best boxing writers out there, and I can't wait. So that's cool. Thanks, Langley. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching and contributing. And until next time, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and live long and prosper. Take it easy.